Read, this is a disappointing issue. This is Spider-Man Team Up 104, which doesn't have Spider-Man. It instead stars Hulk, Marvel's TV sensation. For a couple of issues, they tried Hulk as the main star because of the success of his TV show. In fact, there is a reference to that TV show in this issue. He is teaming with Ka-Zar in this issue to battle M.O.D.O.K and dinosaurs. How do you mess that up? Quite easily, actually. We do have a great start that showcases Ka-Zar. He is fighting a T-Rex. And then afterwards, some out-of-costume A.I.M soldiers who have discovered the sewage land. I will explain some of these things for you right now. Ka-Zar and the sewage land come from Excellent Men issue 10. That is what the YouTube stars would say. They would say that they were created by Stanley Lee and Jack Quimby, which isn't true. Ka-Zar isn't even a Marvel character. Ka-Zar was created in 1936, long before Marvel or Timely Comics were even a thing. He was created at a company that was run by publisher Saul Goodman, who wound up involved with Timely Comics and then later Marvel Comics. Ka-Zar was also very blatantly a rip-off of Tarzan, even more so than the version we now know. Ka-Zar's magazine ran for 4 issues. The character was later adopted into Marvel, then Timely Comics, at the request of Saul Goodman with Marvel Comics issue 1. Ka-Zar remained a fixture in the Marvel Comics title. He was one of its resident stars. The key difference between Goldie Age Ka-Zar is that he is a teen. He is a teenager. Teenage Tarzan, basically. Come the Silver Age, again, the Ka-Zar character is suggested to Marvel by Saul Goodman. The reason that he was used and reintroduced in Excellent Men was because he too was a teenager. However, Stanley Lee and Jack Quimby opted to reinvent the character a bit, and so the teenage element was eventually dropped, and only the most basic of idea and the character's name remain. Ka-Zar continued to appear in Marvel Comics ever since, from Daredevil to Hulk to his own titles. It wasn't until the mid-70s that Marvel finally stopped trying to force Ka-Zar as resolutely as they had. The Ka-Zar publishing plan seems to be that he typically has a series every decade. The Sewage Land, on the other hand, has a different history, not related to Ka-Zar. That will be explained shortly. What we have here is A.I.M have been searching for the Sewage Land. And although Ka-Zar repels their attack here, they leave a omen device so that they can relocate this mysterious land before time again later on. Now we cut to Hulk, and this scene is not explained, and so I cannot even really describe it. Hulk is on top of the Golden Gate Bridge, and he has a little girl with him. and it is like a hostage situation or something, and they want to save the girl. But I have no idea what is meant to have happened. I don't know what we are witnessing. It's not explained. It is a fucking incomprehensible setup for M.O.D.O.K, and it has no further use in the story. You see, then we quickly get through the paces of setting up David Banner getting a job working on a ship. He is working on a ferry. A nice bonus is that this actually mentions at one point the death of Jarella. That is still on M.O.D.K's mind. M.O.D.K is still upset about that. So this takes place not too long after that M.O.D.K story we looked at recently. David Banner discovers that there is something afoot on this ship, and it turns out that they are transporting M.O.D.O.K to the sewage land. M.O.D.O.K is the leader of A.I.M, and he was secretly stashed on this ship. I won't be explaining him in this video. He is a bad guy. He has fought M.O.D.K before by this point. Question is, whose bad guy is M.O.D.O.K? Captain America, Iron Man, or M.O.D.K? Explain that one later by the door, why don't you? I would say he works best as a M.O.D.K bad guy because M.O.D.K is in need of recognisable, dependable rogues like M.O.D.O.K. So they all get to the sewage land, which is the point for me to talk about that. It is a bit less interesting than Ka-Zar's history, but the sewage land was introduced in Marvel Comics issue 22. Weirdly, not in the Ka-Zar story that was in that issue, but instead in the Goldie Age Vision story. The Vision found himself in the land where time stands still. The Vision and an evil wizard called Ka, which is just 4 with a K instead of a T. I'm not sure when it was decided that this was in fact the sewage land. It feels like it might be a retcon from that awful Royce Sternum and Jason Byrne miniseries from the 90s. Or maybe the Monster Hunters. Possibly it is that. Also Royce Sternum. If you know when it became canon that the Goldie Age story introduced the sewage land, let me know later by the door. It got the sewage land name in Excellent Men 10, and most of its lore and mythology was fleshed out since then. Best thing that ever happened to the sewage land was the widespread destruction and total genocide. I am not a fan of the sewage land, but while thinking about it, it's not the sewage land that I am against. It's the stories that often take place in the sewage land. A lot of Christopher Clairvoyant bollocks for starters. I'm not into jungle characters, so Ka-Zar has never been something I have been interested in. The issues of Daredevil where he would og the whole thing were off-putting. But I did actually like some of the Ka-Zar issues that were in the Swamp Thing omnibus. The ones with Ka-Zar and Mockingbird and A.I.M. Those were good. Anyway, A.I.M and M.O.D.O.K, they are using magic science gas to control the dinosaurs. And they want to have an army of dinosaur soldiers under their control that they can use to take over the world. And that is amazing. But we are already on page 16 of this issue, so you know we are not going to get to see much of that fun idea. We have the standard misunderstanding fight eating up another page. And so we are treated to this very short interlude, really, of Hulk fighting a bunch of T-Rexes. I feel like the plural for T-Rex should be something else. Hulk and Ka-Zar don't really team up. They hardly interact. But the best bit of the issue is our 2-page battle between Hulk and M.O.D.O.K. This is quality. Hulk, he smashes M.O.D.O.K's chair, and then the story is quickly over. Ka-Zar offers Hulk sanctuary in the sewage land, which Hulk turns down. This will be something David Peter comes back to eventually. Hulk living in the sewage land. Then, much later, they will relocate Hulk's son to the sewage land for a while. Sadly, I cannot recommend this because it is overall an ungodly mess. Too much time was spent on silly setups rather than refocusing the story on the team up or the action. Did we really need all the stuff on a ship or the 3-page sequence of Hulk with a little girl that is never explained? There were some good bits, but not enough for me to recommend it. And I give it 7 thumbs up.